There we go. Hello, Billy. Yeah, man.
There it
How you doing?
is. What's up? What's up, T-Wells? How you doing?
Not too bad, man. How about yourself?
Nah, man, it's been a busy couple weeks, so there's a lot of stuff to cover on this one for sure. Oh, we were ranting about law all day. We'll see what's up.
I got the list,
Yeah,
man. I got the
yeah,
list here.
for
Looking
sure.
forward.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just get it started, man, as people start going in there. So yeah, welcome to Billyjitsu Late Night. This is uncensored. I speak my mind. It's my shit talking rant. If you want to request to talk in a little bit, definitely go in there. But I talk about issues that are happening in the space about every 2 weeks. If you do want a visual, you can always check out One Hive TV to see what I'm talking about. There are links and everything on that page through YouTube. Eventually, I'm going to post that onto the Twitter thing once we get that working right. But for now, just listen to me rant right now. And obviously, I had a couple things going on there. But yesterday, the Loomas bill drafter this morning, it dropped today. So my main focus right now is going to be talking about the legal stuff out here, and like what that means, like as a developer, as a public user, what that means, and all the issues that are happening in law right now, like the steps I have to be careful with as a developer. So right off the top, I wanted to talk about the pool together lawsuit, and like a little bit of history like that, right? So like the state of New York is suing Pool Together as the group, and they're suing the individuals part of it because they're saying they're hosting an illegal lottery in New York, and their defense is like it's not necessarily being hosted in New York. It's just a website that people are accessing that's on the blockchain. So the guys are kind of being like trolls in New York because these guys are like anti crypto in a sense. New York is pretty heavy on anti crypto. So they created this big ass lawsuit. And what was dope is that they created an NFT project to help them, build up money to fundraise for a law case. And it was super dope to see like all the DeFi guys, Aave, Compound, a lot of like the developers all came together and minted out what they call a poolie. And they raised over fucking like $1.2 million to defend this shit because it's like a bullshit lawsuit, and if it passes, it sets a bad precedent for anything else that comes around. And the shitty part is, as a developer myself, like Pulled Together was like a hackathon project 3 years ago, and they won first place, right? So it's like a bunch of random dudes, some dude from Australia, guy like in Illinois, I think it was Leighton, and another guy, right? They just formed together and created this project, and they fucking won a prize. And like that's a fucking awesome feeling, right? And then they got funded by Aave, got funded by Compound, and they deploy Pull Together, and it's been dope. Like for Pull Together, like you just like deposit some money in, and then randomly, it gets generated. They use something with the funds, and they build money, and then you randomly get money back. Like it's like a no loss lottery in a sense, where you just put money in. They've never lost anybody money. I mean, there's like thousands of people fucking rugging every day. Pull Together has never lost anybody a dollar, and they've only made people money about 14%. And then fucking New York Troll wants to fuck with them and say, hey, we're gonna sue you for having an illegal lottery in New York. And their defense is like they're literally just a website, and it's a blockchain, right? So it's a lot of misunderstanding and people trying to like fuck with the law to kind of take advantage of the situation of people uneducated about the stuff. And that kind of leads me into like the CBDC stream, like the central bank digital currency. They had a stream like about a week and some ago, and there was all these politicians um, talking about basically it came down to someone explaining why they want to have CBDCs, and a bunch of politicians just ripping them. It's like you can't even handle the dollar. What makes you think you can handle a software version of it? What happens if it gets hacked? And there's a lot of people talking about green, 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 and like ETH is green. And I personally think, and maybe I'm totally wrong, but my theory is like there's the green narrative is like way overdone, right? Because motherfuckers are putting Christmas lights for all of December and shit, and that doesn't do anything good, right? There's fucking data centers in the middle of the desert for Amazon and Google. Like, is your selfie worth more a trend than an Ethereum transaction? So like, there's a lot of places that we can say, hey, energy is not being really efficiently used. And then I used to be a miner myself. I used to mine Ethereum earlier in my currency career, but I was looking for cheap ways to fucking do that. So I was doing shit to like fucking use solar energy panels to fucking cut costs. It wasn't because I was worried about the fucking environment, but I'm trying to cut costs. So I was trying to do solar panels and do all this shit. So I wasn't using electricity because it ended up saving my dollar. So everybody I know that's mining is kind of going green because they're trying to cut costs. So it's like a a double narrative. Like, yeah, you're kind of helping the environment too, but that's not your main priority. But as a side effect, you are, because you're trying to cut your costs by going green. So that narrative has kind of been like overdone. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of places that fucking overdo it, but I mean, it's kind of a stupid narrative, especially when there's so many, hypocritical issues like Christmas lights and shit. Like, how many places I can go down, like, call Candy Cane Lane and fucking blowing all kinds of shit, that blow up internet. Do T Wells, on your mic, do you have like a place in your area that has Christmas lights in December and shit, or people that even go past it?
Yeah, of course, man. We got places like neighborhoods people just go to because shit is lit up, like
Yeah, yeah,
all the yards.
yeah, it's absolutely insane. So I was like, it's such a crazy critique of like where this law is going, and like another lawsuit, because I'm trying to go through this kind of quick because we have a lot to go through. But another lawsuit, and this is something I want to get in a little bit deeper, is the other side, right? So there was a guy that created an NFT thing for himself. Like he bought a website called Other Side, .com or something with Other Side, right? And then obviously we know that the Bored Apes, created their land for their game called Other Side 2. So they sent him a cease and desist, even though he registered first. And so his DNS organization is saying, hey, they're sending a cease and desist, and these guys are claiming that you're infringing on their property, and they were going to give it to him. And that's kind of shady. I mean, I've seen this happen all the time where, rich companies or rich people basically bully you through lawyers to fucking steal your domain, right? But that kind of changes the game when we're talking about ENS and crypto. Because like if I registered like GoDaddy, if I registered, twitter.com before Twitter came in, right? It's not really mine. I never even have control of it. I log into their website and then I can configure it. So it's theirs to take away at any time, right? So if, let's say, Twitter wins the lawsuit, then all they have to do is just basically take that away from my account and then give it to Twitter, and I'm shit out of luck. I lost the legal battle, and that's it. But when you're talking about ENS, I have an NFT in my wallet. So if I were to, my first name is Diz and my last name is Knee, and I lose a legal lawsuit, you know, even if I lose it, they still have to take it out of my wallet. They would have to seize my wallet. Now I could, be nefarious and burn that NFT, and then nobody gets it, or I could just lose the keys to my wallet. So it brings up a really serious issue of like, what, like, even if you lose, so what? In a sense, I mean, are they going to put you in jail for losing your keys, or what happens then? And then to step it up a notch, like a couple weeks ago, I showed how you could host a website with your ENS, right? So like if I had a website, and let's say I had the Other Side website, and then I uploaded that to IPFS, and then I threw away the keys, there's nothing anybody can do, in a sense. Like it's locked, it's lost forever. So that website, as long as those nodes stay alive, it's there forever. Nobody can take it down. So it brings a lot of concept like, well, I mean, everybody's creating these laws, but and the reality is sometimes you can't do anything because you just throw away the keys and there's nothing anybody can do, you know. And I actually had this conversation. I had a long conversation with a lawyer about it. Ali, she's pretty good. She's a part of the Lex Dow, and we were talking about, her argument is you shouldn't be able to use legal documents on IPFS because of the risk of IPS going down. And I kind of disagreed with it, because I was like, well, it's not impossible. I mean, it is possible, but it's not likely. And then we went on like a 30-minute conversation going back and forth, and legal, dealing with a lawyer, like it's very technical, right? But it came down to like, all right, let's look up the nodes, and I hit a big reality of like, there's only like 17 gateways in the world, and like 15 of those are US. So there's no incentives to keep IPFS alive, because like Filecoin is kind of doing their thing, and Pinata is just a gateway. There's no incentive value other than paying them monthly. But there is a chance that IPF could really go away, in a sense. In that aspect, she was right. But my argument is like, OpenSea would be devastated if IPFS were to go away. So they would have, you know, incentive value to keep IPFS alive and have their own node. But then again, OpenSea is a U.S. company too. So it comes down to like, if the U.S. said, "Hey, we're going to ban IPFS," there's only like one node in Germany and like one node in India, and that's it. And it would be so horribly like overloaded that no one would ever use it. So it's such a big
Yeah,
back and forth
I
thing.
mean,
Like, go ahead, go for it,
uh,
T1.
I want to. It's like I agree with everything you're saying. I think if it's a thought experiment though, like about imagining a world where a state actor like the United States took like real aggressive regulatory action against something like this, I guess the optimist's perspective is that would potentially then spark a reaction. Like I don't think that our community would take something like that lying down. Like I think that on IPFS or whether it's that or another project, like it would bring the immediacy, like the acute need for decentralization and like development and further distribution of these nodes. I think would become so obvious as to probably like gather more steam. I don't know, but like you're saying, it's still a legal entity like rooted in the United States. So in some sense, I don't know. I feel like these types of stress tests are coming, and we won't really know until they like arrive. Like shit hits the fan.
Well, that kind of leads me to the Loomas bill draft that was just dropped this morning, which is good and bad. It's a start. A lot of people kind of, I think the lawyers kind of think that I'm like anti-law or anything. I'm a law-abiding citizen, T. Wells. Obviously, I pay
Of
my
course,
taxes.
man. I know
I,
you.
I don't want the SEC smoke. Nobody wants that smoke from anybody, honestly. But it's
Uh,
like a lot of people are coming in this space from the old space, like the I call it the Web 2 thinking, where we're just trying to recreate the same shit in this space and it doesn't fit. So like the Loomis draft, I don't want to get too deep into it because it's a lot of information. But the biggest one is basically if you want to operate in the United States as a legal entity, it basically kills the anonymous. So you cannot be anonymous at all in the United States at all if you want to have like a legit business. So it's like okay, like Satoshi started this whole thing, and that's like the ultimate anon. So I was like, it's kind of going back to the roots of like, I don't want to say fuck the man, but it's like, all right, we don't need you as the government, and the government feels like it's losing grip because there's very hard it's getting very very hard for them to enforce things. They can say they're going to enforce it and they can make an example of people, but there's going to be 1,000 other people still underground doing it anyway. They've banned Bitcoin in
totally.
China, I don't even know how many times. They've banned it in India, they've banned it in Africa, and they realized they could not stop it. So it's just like one of those other things. Ethereum's a little bit different because we have smart contracts and there's a little bit more to it. But it's once people start decentralizing and realizing that the power is back in their hands, then it's kind of a scary thing. I mean, look at like the DAO that tried to buy the Declaration of Independence, right? It was just a bunch of random people that pooled together a whole bunch of money to form a DAO in a couple of days, and they almost got it. They almost bought it. That's the power of the people, and that's what people like. I'm trying to teach people like you don't have to create this corporation. Like there's laws and lawyers that are going to say you have to do this and you have to do that. I mean, yes, that's the old way, but the question will be, well, why can't we do it this way now? Like, why not? That's what I want people to
Yeah.
ask. Like, well, why can't I do it? Why can't I get a bunch of friends and form a DAO, and then we all form our own LLCs if we have to, and then we just work. Why can't I do that anon? Why can't I do it to a wallet address if I register it? So there's a whole bunch of loopholes and like too many like generate alls for this to be safe. And there's one language on there for developers and upgradable contracts. And it's a shitty situation where I think, again, it's a start. But as a developer, if I make a contract and then like I need to modify it for anything, that puts me in major legal binding. So that's not something I want to mess with. Again, like I make a joke is like I'm just going to create a church, church of solidity, and I'm a fucking performance artist, okay? And every code I write is fucking performance art. And if you want to use it, go ahead and use it. So like there's going to be loopholes for everything. As soon as they set standards, there's going to be a loophole around it. And it's just this going to be a battle of government trying to keep its grasp, and the people are kind of fed up. I mean, the reason I'm really passionate about this fucking space is because I'm tired of fucking insider trading. I'm tired of VCs. Like a lot of people are like, why don't you like VCs? Why don't you like? Because VC's job is to extract more than they put in, and that's their entire goal. So if they put in $10, they're going to take out 20. That 20 comes out from somewhere. That comes out from your and my pockets. I mean, they bring in liquidity and they bring in a lot of marketing, but they don't play the game fair, and their whole job is just to extract out. Look at A16. I mean, they do a lot of good stuff, but they also pulled out, fucking like what, $4 or $5 billion for their own fund. I mean, that came out of, somebody's pockets, so there's always a give and take.
Yeah,
And,
zero sum, man.
yeah, yeah. And so like this draft is just the first draft of, many revisions. I'll be looking at it. I mean, I'm far from law, I'm far from a lawyer, but being my own business person, you have to learn some things. Otherwise, you get, fucking fucked up by lawyers too, and get abused by lawyers too. I mean, I'm lucky enough to be in company of good lawyers in my own business, so I get an understanding, and we can just talk one on one without getting billed every 15 minutes. But it's just one of those things. Like I got to look out for myself being in the U.S. and being a developer. It is very scary grounds because they can make examples out of you, and it's the fear that's like, oh shit, I'd rather be a non than be out in the open, and then that's,
Yeah,
I feel there's a movement coming back to the anon, because these past few years everybody was like, look at me, check out my PFP. It's going to go back to the days where everybody's just a Discord name again. I feel that coming pretty soon.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's the chilling effect, right? And
yeah,
this is sort of, it's the interesting thing. It's like it's not as if regulatory ambiguity is without consequence, right? They don't
right.
have to come out and draw a bright line. They just like make noises and issue public statements, and people who are right at the metal, like you are going to make decisions accordingly. Yeah, no doubt, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. And then there's another crazy one, like this new law firm. They just served somebody by dropping an NFT in their wallet. So it's absolutely crazy to
I
me
love
that
it.
they could speak.
You've been served.
Yeah, it's a crazy idea, because it's like, okay, well, how do you prove somebody actually checked their wallet? So like if I drop somebody an NFT and they only use OpenSea, by default, OpenSea hides that. Like if you didn't purchase it and I just airdrop it to you, because there's so many scam airdrops, right? Then it just goes into a hidden folder. So then unless you actually look at the hidden folder, there's no way that you would ever even know that you got it, right? And then also it's a public blockchain, so anybody checking that wallet could then click it. So their thing was like, all right, they airdrop you this token, right? And then it has a link that you have to click to let you know that you got served. So I mean, I could already see the trolls coming in. As soon as this NFT goes global, I could see the whole world clicking on this fucking link. We know how much ape holders love clicking random links and shit. So I can only imagine, the fucking amount of trolls that are being clicking that link. So then they're gonna have an IP from fucking India, Africa, fucking UK, anywhere, all over the world. People are gonna show up to this court case saying, "I'm this random person." It's the ultimate troll saying, like, "F you, you can't do it this way." I think it's a start, and I think like the law firm is kind of like in a shitty position. It's like, well, what do? We don't know who the fuck this person is, where this person lives. So they tried to attempt something, but it's really hard to say proof, and I guess they need to do that to move on in the legal process. But again, if this goes through and they fucking make this happen, that sets a really bad precedent. In essence, like they can airdrop you fucking tokens, you may not know about it, and now you're in trouble. Because you didn't check your hidden wallet, which is kind of a shitty situation. And that's kind of like where I'm pretty aggressive on lawyers. Like, well, what where are the lawyers fighting for us? We can always discuss it, but where are the lawyers saying, "Hey, you can't do that because of this"? That's what I'm looking to see. Like, where are the rallies? Where are the defenders for this? Where it's like that doesn't sound right. And that's why I'm really trying to educate as many people as possible, saying like this is not a good way to go about it, because now I can literally airdrop anybody, something, and then I can sue them. Well, I served you in a sense. That sets the precedent. I can airdrop anybody, Billy token, and then make it $1 million and then dump it, 20 minutes later for $0. And now you're on the hook for taxes for $1 million. So there's a lot of exploits and things that you can do to, basically show this is bad precedent, and that's kind of like the whole legal spiel of everything going back and forth. And this is all happening within the last week and a half. And most of these things have been dropping like in the last few days. So, you got lawyers digging, grinding at the teeth and like kind of sweating, like everything they want to go through. We just got to see what the judgment calls. And that's kind of where I'm worried about, like, all right, I mean, this bill is not going to pass for a couple of years. It's got to do a lot of revisions. But, this random NFT drop, and I already foresee that being a PFP. I would buy it just to troll it, because someone could easily sell it. You drop this NFT, you sell it. Now it's gone to a whole bunch of buyers. Like, well, like where is it now? It'd be such a joke of like, LOL. Because even if this person wasn't even in the States, it doesn't mean anything to them. That's what it comes down to. Like, this is such a worldwide anon. Like, it's good luck tracking this person down. You know? So I thought that was pretty hilarious. And I'm like, hopefully it doesn't pass. I'm really hoping like this doesn't get a lot of steam, because then we're gonna have a whole bunch of lawyers fucking, dropping NFTs and using that as an excuse to say, all right, we served you. Same way they do it like in publications for newspapers. Hey, we served you. But then that's assuming they even know where you live, They were doing like serving people through Facebook messages and shit before. And I don't know if people got away with it or not, but like, you can prove that you've never seen it. There's no way to prove that the person that owns this wallet with the private keys actually saw it. What are your thoughts on that, T Wells?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're just looking forward then to some stages here where the regulators are just tying themselves up in knots. Like, on the other hand, it's I don't know. It's so like if attempts at regulation are inevitable, I don't envy the people trying to craft it. Like I hope that places like Coin Center and the like continue to do really well in the GR and in the Gitcoin rounds and elsewhere, because having actual policy advocates is one of the best things I think that we can do. I know it may not be in the keeping with like traditional crypto ethos, but like you're either in the room or you're not. Like you're either helping to make that regulation or you're just like waiting to see what will happen. And it's not to say that you have like a direct line. Everything comes down to influence, obviously, but I think these it's weird because like regulators, like politicians, are kind of caught between a rock and a hard place in a sense, right? If I'm going to argue their position for a second, which is like on one hand they can't do nothing because there are hordes of people that are so horribly miseducated and misguided about crypto that they're like it's like an issue and they can't be on the wrong side of it. But then what they do, as you're saying, is so impossible to even nail down that like any action that they attempt to do is going to like it's just going to create probably larger problems in the short term. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is just like the top layer stuff, they haven't even touched, and like this is getting really deep into it. But on the developer standpoint, I mean, you got the real criminals that are doing sandwich attacks, and what that
Yep.
sandwich attack
Yep.
means is like, if I want to buy Ethereum at $1,000, right? The miner can see that. Like, I send the transaction to the blockchain and say, hey, I'm trying to buy $1,000 of Ethereum at 1,000, like one Ethereum, right? And then the miner can see that and say, oh, this guy's trying to buy $1,000. Let me buy $2,000 for Ethereum, raise the price, to 2,000, just to be extreme. I'm going to raise the price for 2,000. I'm going to sell it to this guy. Now he gets half the Ethereum, and I just double my profit. And this all happens in one transaction. That's it's like a sandwich attack. It's an MEV attack. I mean, these are the real criminals out here that are doing it behind the scenes. And I mean, no one has even touched that, in a sense. And then again, Ethereum works one way, Avalanche works differently, where the it's not even public. Only the miners can see the mempool, which is the memory pool for all the transactions. So in Avalanche, only the miners can see that. So then only the miners can take advantage of that, and you don't even know if it happened because it's all private. So there is so many things in this space that people do not understand, that we haven't even touched on. That again, it's kind of like I don't even know where to start, honestly. And that's the part of the problem is they're losing the grip on it, and so they are kind of this bill is somewhat crippling to what the space can grow to. Again, I'm being very careful in what I build and what I participate to contribute to, because I don't want that smoke with the SEC or that smoke with anybody. Like, hey, this guy's fucking docs. Let's get this motherfucker. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. So I'll keep doing what I'm doing. But it's I'm trying to educate as many people as I can to have them realize, okay, this is what's going on. And a non-team is more safe, or just as safe as someone that is docs, honestly, because fucking like a Gav team or fucking Satoshi. I mean, they're all Anon teams, and they've done more than any fucking docs. The fucking Floyd Mayweather's fucking docs. The fucking YouTuber, those brothers are fucking docs, and they've been ripping people off for fucking days. So the only difference between a docs and a non-docs team is that you can see the motherfucker stealing from you. Honestly, I mean, I've seen. Yeah, it's like, okay, now now you can see his face, now you can fucking punch the wall or something. You can do a class action lawsuit, but nothing fucking happens. These people walk away scot free, and they make an example of like one small guy because they think they have the chance. And that's kind of the shitty thing, but it is how it is right now in the space. And like that's why I'm like, anon or non-anon, as long as you have a decent rep, I mean, that's probably going to be your best bet. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Honest, I can't see why. I can understand why people are saying show your face and everything, so people think they're going to get in trouble, but nothing fucking happens, you know. And that fucking $70 million video game thing is still pending up in the air. That dude fucking has enough to pay off any
Yeah,
lawyer
man.
$10 million. All right, cool. He still walks away with 60 mil. Big fucking deal, you know. So it's like, we're going to come back to the roots, with the new generation. They're going to learn the lessons with it. But I just keep saying, like, we got to keep pushing for decentralization, and like, maybe bring back some of the anons. Like, don't make it so hard on them, because a lot of the OGs are still anons. I still don't know who they are other than a fucking Twitter name or Discord name, honestly. And speaking of
Yeah.
decentralization and speaking of Twitter, fucking Lens Protocol drops. And for those that don't know, Lens Protocol is a social media open source system to kind of like take on Twitter. The biggest complaint about Web3 guys is like, hey, we're always on Web3. We're talking about decentralization, talking like on a centralized server. You were talking on Discord, or we're talking on Twitter, and it's like, where is it at? So Aave buckled down, and they've been doing a ton of hackathons. They've had like maybe $250,000 hackathons in the last 3-4 months, and they finally deployed. And so Lens Protocol is pretty dope. It's on Polygon. It's still early beta, but and it's still kind of like in groups only. Like if you were part of Developer DAO, or if you're one of the first people to sign up on it, or if you're part of some other kind of developer things, you can get on there. But it is pretty dope stuff. Like uh, you can have token gated content. You can have people pay you if you want to DM you, in a sense. Like you can pay to follow. So you can have live streams on there, not using YouTube, but through LivePeer, and people that can support each other if they want to form your own groups. Kind of like the like, I wish Twitter did this, I wish, all that stuff. They're trying to build it out in real time, which is pretty dope. And it's something that definitely look into. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time, and it does cost some transactions. Like if I want to follow somebody, I have to, like, pay a transaction fee, but it's less than a penny on Polygon, but it's a start. And I really am excited to see a decentralized social media where your username is an NFT, right? So like, you're on Twitter, you have like 5,000 followers, and then you have to like make a TikTok, and you have to start from zero. So then you have to promote on Twitter, hey, follow me on this one. This one, like your NFT, you take it everywhere. So if I have the Billyjitsu.lens, I think that's my name. Um, I could take that NFT anywhere. And so they're already coming out with multiple platforms on Lens, where they have Lensters, which is like a Friendster in a sense. They have this thing for video programming. It's still all early beta. A lot of the guys in DevDAO are really excited about it, and they're building more stuff on top of it. So I think it's going to be really excited. So the moment there's a chance to open beta, claim your name, get in early. It is pretty dope. I just wanted to spread the news on that one, because it's the start of a
Yeah,
new
dude.
feature. Yeah. It is.
I've been
It's pretty
watching
cool.
Lens
Yeah.
since early on. As soon as you know that they had that linkage with the Aave visionary approach, man, had to be early on that shit.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Of course, I
I
don't
got
understand the
lucky.
developer level, but the idea is pretty cool.
Well, it's basically an open platform. Like, so think Twitter, and as if you have an idea, you can build it. Let's say, oh, I wish I could do Twitter and have a group, and then everybody kind of like has to pay to get it. Like I mean, to be horrible example, but paid group, right? So then anybody that wants to join this group has to pay, whatever token you choose to get in that group on Twitter Spaces, in a sense. So like, you could do it literally on the fly. People can tip you with every token they want. There's no middleman. Like, they could just do it directly. So it's totally an open platform for you to do anything that you want for community. um, you know, Women that are tired of guys DMing them now can charge people to DM them and say, "You want to talk to me? It costs 1 ETH." Like, you can think of anything that on there. So like, it's pretty exciting to see a lot of people like really building out to it. Um, there's already tools to make Twitter and Lens coexist. So if you post on Lens, it'll show up on your Twitter. So like, that's the easier they make it, the more people are going to migrate toward it. And I think that's going to be the wave of the future, especially not using YouTube way to monetize everything. Like, your stuff is your own content. Literally every tweet you do is yours. It's actually minted to an NFT. So you could take your whole content with you if you wanted to. So it's a bright future. So definitely keep
Do
an
you
eye
think
out.
yeah, does something like this scale? I mean, obviously, it's all a question of scale, right? Like on Polygon, you know, I wonder what the point of, given all of this creation, right? If you experience like serious adoption of a platform like this, um, how far it could scale. I guess I'm curious to
Well,
hear and think about that.
Polygon's been working on a few things, and obviously, they're working with Meta now too. So they have their public RPCs, and at one of the guys I know at Developer DAO, he works with Anchor, and they have it. So what Polygon was having some major issues before was their RPC nodes. Basically, it's how you connect to the blockchain, right? So they had like five in each. Like let's say if the MetaMask guys and Infura, Alchemy was another node operator. It lets you connect your wallet to the blockchain in sense, right? So what they did is they found a way to migrate all five. So like if you were using Infura and then everybody's using Infura, you're all trying to exit through the same door. You just get bottlenecked and you get all clogged up, right? So they found a way to average all the RPCs out, so then you're kind of round robining between all the RPCs, and so they've averaged out. So there's just more and more tunnels going into Polygon. So they're finding a good way to scale for now. Now, if it blows up even higher, I don't know. We'll find out. But that's kind of a good problem for them to have right now, especially in this market. So things are slowing down a little bit.
Right,
So it's
right.
a great time to build. Yeah. And then another news, and this is kind of, I want your input on this one too. Well, I know you guys discussed that on Monday, is the Optimism Airdrop. And I just want to say, like, it pays to explore in this space. It pays to go on another chain
100%,
and
man.
look around. Yeah. Like, Optimism did it a cool way, where they kind of like retroactively did it. But like, just if there's a new DApp, I mean, and they come out with a token, the first thing they're going to do is reward all the users that did it. So if there's something you've been wanting to try, fucking try it. Everybody's looking at Arbitrum right now, saying, okay, Optimism did a drop. Is Arbitrum going to be the spot? And they're already having like bounties and rewards, for picking up NFTs and things like that. So it would be foolish not to drop a few bucks and just do a couple swaps or just play around on there. Um, it just, whether there's nothing or not, it's always good to explore the space and just test things around. And if you don't trust it with your main wallet, then do it with another wallet. But definitely mess around, because Optimism did a pretty hefty drop. If you bridge to them, if you did a couple transactions with them, I don't remember the other ones, but I saw people getting like $1,000, $3,000 on the airdrop given day one. Did you get anything on that one too, Oz?
Yeah, man, I managed to get a little bit there.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
we did chat about this on Monday, and the parameters I mean, the parameters are cool, man. I mean, I ended up getting it, um, for a few, and there are six total, eligibility criteria. If folks are watching on YouTube, they can see we got it queued up on screen here. Using a dummy wallet, but I definitely, just got it for sort of using Optimism as you're describing, and then the
Yeah,
fact that anyone who voted on, on underneath mainnet also, in DAO
yeah.
governance also got some. I thought it was really cool how they set these different parameters,
I know.
just extending beyond just users, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking donated on Polygon. So I'm like, fuck, I got fucked on that one. But hey, that's how it
Also the
works.
Gitcoin, yeah.
Yeah. But there was a crazy ass proposal to ban all the dumpers, and I was like, okay,
Oh Christ, yeah,
I mean, since we have an open table to vote, it's like, all right, but not everybody should vote. That's my feeling.
yeah,
But
exactly.
it's right off the top. The first thing I thought of was like, what about all the U.S. people, right? So I just got airdropped, let's say $10,000 of Optimism. I'm on the hook for $10,000. So if I don't fucking sell that shit, now I got to pay taxes. If this thing dumps to fucking $2 and I swap it for $2, I'm still on the hook for $10,000. So I have to, in a sense, cash out so then I can pay my taxes. I can always buy back later, or maybe I lose out and it blows up. But because of the way the taxes are here in the US, it would be stupid not to, especially in this market, in the bear market. The chances of it going down are really big. So I was like, why wouldn't anybody, at least in the USA, sell it and
Yeah,
at
man.
least clear the taxes? So it's kind of a lot of local thinking. I know people are upset and they want to, like, it was for governance and everything, but there's a lot of rules that we have to dig at. We have to think of like nationwide, like instead of nationwide, we have to think worldwide. And that's kind of like what I wanted to go to. Like whenever I think of something, it's like, well, it sucks for me, but it works for everybody else. You got to be fair. You have to play fair on that kind of stuff. But I thought it was really cool for the Optimism airdrop. I know people did it early. once you see it on the chain and it goes live, it's live. It's not when you announce it; it's when it's on chain. So I know people were kind of upset at that, but
Right.
fuck it. um, Speaking of chains, Solana goes down again. So it was shit. I don't know, man.
Story
Solana's
of our
having some
lives,
major
brother.
issues. Yeah, Solana's been struggling, man. And I know everybody has growing pains, but this one was pretty bad. So you remember how I was talking about sandwich attacks? To start, Solana was off sync by 30 minutes. Okay. And while people may not say that's a big deal, it's a fucking huge deal, right? Because if you know what's going to happen in 30 minutes, there's a huge advantage to fucking taking advantage. Imagine you're at the UFC and there's going to be a prize fight and you know what's going to happen in 30 minutes. You're going to bet big, right? Obviously. So everybody's transactions, yeah, everybody has their transactions in the mempool, right? And so now all the miners and all the validators now know what's going to happen 30 minutes in advance. So there's going to be so much front running that I can't even imagine how much was happening on there. So their 30-second offset was
A front
was
running
in there.
opportunity in crypto. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So boom, right there. And then all of a sudden, I think they realized what happened, and then it totally went out of sync, and then it shut down, and then they had to reboot it again. It's a tough situation for Solana. I'm really rooting for them because I'm not an ETH maxi, but I do everything on ETH. I have issues with the VC and the way it's priced out on Solana because it's too expensive for the average user to be able to participate in this. I think it costs like a good $6,000 to stake and then the equipment to run it. So it's very expensive, and so now it's only set by an elite few. So those elite few are then able to take advantage of those situations, and they've already had to deal with spam because of all the NFT spammers. So they actually had to blacklist people in order to keep the network up and running. Now, those are growing pains because they're getting popular, or if it's, I don't know, I think it's a pretty good system overall, but I haven't really done a deep dive and analysis on the chain level. I mean, I don't even think I'm that good to even fully understand it. But what I do understand is they're having some major issues and people are selling. So, it's like faith in the system is like down again. It's becoming a meme. It's like, all right, are they going to have uptime or downtime? So it's my heart goes out to the Solana devs out there, but I don't even know like what's your faith in Solana, Teals? Do you even use it?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I've used it for somewhat for the reasons we've discussed before, right?
Yeah.
But I certainly don't know enough about the tech to be like, oh, well, here's the reason why. Like, I don't know a damn thing, I'm just sort of at this point in it for the lulls. Like, I'm entertained by it. But I'd like to know at a technical level, like, what do you surmise as being like causation? Like, what is something that could be causing this that doesn't occur, right, on other L1s, like even
Well,
side chains, right?
problem is a bit of spam, right? So there's a bit of spam on the network because either there's people hating on it or they just don't know how to handle that kind of spam because in paper everything sounds good, just like Cardano, but it still needs to show proof of actually working. So Ethereum is kind of like let's dive in, fix as we go. So then they've been fixing it for years and they've had their problems. Solana kind of went the same way, but they've had some other developers and they went with a different approach with instead of like proof of work, they have proof of stake, and they have like this futuristic timing type of system where instead of like doing some transaction, it like kind of futuristically predicts what's going to happen in the next few seconds. And then when those things go out of sync, because either there's not enough validators because it's too expensive, things fuck up in a sense. So then it's like, all right, well, how are they going to fix that? They have to keep resetting, and shit happens. you know, so it's just one of those growing pains that they got to figure it out because if there's more and more people spamming them, with the problem with Ethereum, you want to spam an Ethereum, it's going to cost you a shitload of money. And Solana, now
Yeah.
that it's getting cheaper and cheaper, it's going to be cheaper to spam. So I don't know how they're going to solve that in the long term because the cheaper Solana goes, the easier it is to spam.
So, but like, is this spamming just not an issue on Polygon, or is it because it's marginally higher that like spamming doesn't scale, or um, like why is something like this happening? Do you think to Solana and not other cheap L1s?
Well, it did happen on Polygon, and that's why they had to raise their gas from
Right.
from
Right.
1 to 30. Yeah, so they had to increase that because when it was one gas and it was super cheap, and we're talking like a thousandth of a penny to transact. That was, I mean, I'm still being a cheapo because it still cost me a penny. It's not a big deal, but it was like a thousandth of a penny was fun. But people were literally sending tokens back and forth for nothing. and they were just spamming the entire
Right.
network and making it non-usable. And that's how they got Iron Finance, fucked with the bank run when they had their first algorithmic stablecoin crash. So it was abuse the chain, and they couldn't keep up the oracles, and then they abused it, and then it crashed. But my heart goes out to Solana. I wish you luck, but I'm not really using it anymore. So
Well,
that's
so
go ahead.
if they were to raise gas, I mean, so could a sort of gas fix along the lines of what Polygon decided to do be a solution here for them,
Yeah.
or like, is it? Yeah,
Yeah, well, then that becomes the issue. Is like, well, then like the alternative for the L1 was like, don't use Ethereum because we're cheaper. So now all of a sudden, like the Avalanche guys, they're eating their feet because they were saying, ha ha ha, we're cheaper. And then all of a sudden, so people started using it, it got more expensive, and they say, oh, you shouldn't have layer twos. And then Avalanche guys say, oh, now we have to have a layer two because we can't handle the network. So if everybody's kind of doing the same thing Ethereum is doing, why would I use any other chain besides Ethereum?
right, sure, yeah. No, I'm interested, and then this spamming is what produced the 30-minute lag on the chain itself. You're saying,
No, no,
or no?
that's just another fact that they had to deal with. So they had to actually blacklist spammers. So they, instead of like a true open decentralized world, they have to blacklist people now because of bad actors. So they can't handle it yet, in a sense. I mean, there's bad actors in Ethereum, but they would have to pay like millions of dollars to spam. It's not worth it, in a sense.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. Another
It's
thing I
funny.
want to
This
talk
morning I was
about.
talking to a fella from XP Network bridging, like NFT bridging project, and this morning he was like, "Yeah," he's like, "Well, I mean, he didn't exactly say it this way, but I sort of cracked up offline." He said, "Well, if you got caught on Solana with our bridge, you could get off the chain and mint your NFT onto another blockchain." I was like, "Oh, well, right on."
Yeah, people are migrating. People are. I actually talked to the XP Network guys, and they have a really cool idea. You can actually, with XP
Yeah,
Network, you can have your NFT project, literally across all chains. So, like, if you have like let's just say 1,000 project, if someone mints on Solana, that counts as one on Ethereum. If someone mints on Ethereum, that counts as one on Avalanche. So it's literally 1,000 NFTs all across chain, like everywhere. So like you can literally have a
yeah,
multi-chain L1 NFT project where no one's really picking the best chain. So like you could always pick any chain and then migrate it over. It's pretty cool. Very expensive. I think they quoted me about 25K to have that. So I was like, I'm good. But I thought it was
right,
cool.
right, right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It is
But
cool, and they look like they're working on fraud detection too, which is kind of neat. I don't know. I
yeah,
know we're going to
yeah,
far afield here, but that
yeah.
seems like a really important need to satisfy, right? Like
Yeah,
proof of
definitely.
originality.
So it's like shit, I can mint everything on the cheapest chain and then migrate it over to Ethereum and save a bunch of money. But wanted to cover on is the apes. The apes again, they get hacked again. The ape guys are too much,
It's
man. They're a special kind of folk. So what happens is their Discord gets hacked, and there's a link, and I think it wasn't too bad, but there was a nefarious link, and then I don't know what it is about like links, but it's like moths to a light. They just like clicking links randomly, and so a couple of people lost their apes again. And the narrative is like, okay, everybody's blaming Discord. I was like, well, yay and nay. I mean, I always used to wonder like who would fall for the Prince of Nigeria emails. And I'm like, what kind of person, actually answers these emails and actually sends their money? And now I know who, in a sense. Like, everybody's telling you
bored
don't click
apes
random links,
owners.
and I don't think it's just more of the uneducated in a sense, not like it's a it's just uneducated and like the culture of having to be first. No one wants to miss out on the mint. They've created this culture of like, you got to mint first or you're going to be sold out, right? So then as soon as the link goes up and everybody gets excited, I want to be first through the door so I can ensure my mint. So it's kind of a culture issue as well. It's not like now you feel like you're in a trusted Discord and then
Sure.
they're starting to play Discord. And we all know bots can be hacked. So the Discord itself wasn't hacked. I think the user wasn't hacked. It was actually a bot that has an administration right that was hacked. And so when you're a $1 billion company and you don't have, the most educated users, I would probably eliminate the bots and then just have it a very simple, hire a couple guys to be the bots in a sense, because you have the money to do so. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people would volunteer just to get into the Discord. But when you have that kind of like when you're a $1 billion company, there's a certain responsibility I think you should have. If not, fucking have a course on educating your fucking holders. You know what I mean? Like I do this shit on Twitter for
Sure.
free for
Yeah.
nothing. Just fucking have a fucking ape class taught by the fucking co-founder. Say, all right, don't fucking click links. Don't fucking approve it on your fucking wallet. and then you're gonna be good. Okay, but I don't understand. Like I really don't get this shit at all. I think it's kind of like
It's
a
one of
meme
those
now.
things, man. But it's the same thing in some sense. It's like the same people who fall for the recent Elon Musk's iterations of the Vitalik, you know, send 1 ETH and I'll send 2 ETH back. Like it's
Yeah,
unfortunately, it's like at scale. Once it's almost inescapable for the self custody side of things, right? It's like this trade off yields people getting wrecked. Like if they,
yeah,
yeah, and it is education, but in some cases you're like, even if you educate people, as you said earlier, as long as the FOMO part is there, it will always like override people's clicking finger. Like
fuck, yeah.
I know
I
not
got
to
to
do
bring that shit
this,
back.
but I want to know what happens if I click that shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that shit. I'm gonna probably do that. Like, send me 1 ape, I'll send two back. I'm gonna see how well that works. I'll let you know how it goes 2 hours in 2 weeks.
Oh
um,
my God.
oh,
Speaking
bigger
of,
news, and this is really important for everybody listening out there. Like, this is huge information. Gitcoin grants is coming out tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's is the official start to this.
yeah, tomorrow, man.
Yeah. Okay, so like Gitcoin, for people that don't know, Gitcoin actually is an organization that kind of like funds public goods. And I know you're saying, what the fuck is a public good, right? I didn't even know what the fuck a public good is. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, there are tools and resources out there that people do without getting paid. The software that I use to make NFT contracts, Hard Hat, and like all these other tools are built by developers, or they're like nonprofit groups that contribute to doing something good, or like for people to use it open source. Like OBS is a free open source software that we're using. It's not private company, and so guys like that do it because they love doing it or they want to help create, but they make no money out of it because literally it's free. So what Gitcoin does is they create a grants round, and they actually like fund them, right? And Gitcoin has a really cool system where a lot of people don't have a lot of money to spend, right? So they have something called quadratic funding. So if you have 100 people donating $1 versus one guy that donates $100, the 100 people donate 100. Say, oh, there's 100 donors at $1. They multiply that by the amount of users. So no matter how little you can give, it actually makes a huge difference over the long term. So if there's a project that has a lot of users and followers, and all they can donate is $1, that really equates a lot of big money that gets dropped to the project. And I think this is going on for 2 weeks, right, T Wells?
I believe so, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we got it up on screen here. It's going to go through the 23rd. Starts tomorrow
yeah.
through the 23rd.
Yeah, so this is like I really I'm behind this project. Like before I was like, these guys are nerds and everything, but like once I really look at it and I sat down and looked at all the projects that are part of it, I was like, man, I use these tools. Literally, it's how I develop on the blockchain. Like half of these tools that are on there, I use them. So like I got to donate to them. It's like even if it's $5, like they multiply it. So if you have a multiplier and there's like 20 people with $5, it's like $200. End up to be equating, like they match it, and then they do a multiplier. Ends up being like fucking like 2 grand, 3 grand, 5 grand. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So
man.
definitely check it out. You can donate it through Polygon. You can donate through Ethereum too. Gas is low, but Polygon's like super cheap. One Hive TV is actually on that Gitcoin grants round, right? T Wells, is that official or?
Yeah, we're going to be getting it. Yep, we're going to have it up. It may not be up tomorrow, but it'll be up this week. So we're
Yeah,
going to be in the
so
pipeline, and so is Gardens. Yep.
yeah. So One Hive TV is actually like this part right here that I'm doing Twitter Spaces. I'm using in my Twitter Spaces. It's more about educational content. If you follow the One Hive TV on YouTube or through the Discord, you're going to find out they have like a Monday stream, keeping you updates on news events. There is an NFT and gaming show on Wednesdays. There's a Latin music with like a producer in Mexico, right, that has all these Latin bands that kind of give you up to date on the music
Yeah,
on Thursdays. And then sometimes from time to time they even have Down News with Paul on there. So it's we do everything basically out of pocket. I do it for free. We make no money on it, but it's we aim to educate, and that's kind of the goal of the space. So definitely check them out. If you have $1, throw it that way. Obviously I'm not a shiller. You know me, I'm anti-shill, but it's definitely something to look at. At least browse the Gitcoin grants round, see what people are doing in the space. Not everything is for profit. Sometimes people are doing for good. It may open your eyes to like what other cool things are in the space. So definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. And then finally, the final one for the day before we end the space. And if we have any questions, go for it. But I just dropped a free NFT like yesterday, and we just revealed it like an hour ago. It was pretty cool. It was pretty funny. It's called Sticks NFT 69. I thought it was hilarious when the team came up and showed me the artwork for it. So I thought, fuck it, why not? It's free. Let's go ahead and deploy it. It is on mainnet, and I think it's hilarious. It's too funny. I don't know if anybody got a chance to mint. I kind of shared it from here to here, like here and there. But I don't know. Did anybody in the audience actually get a chance to mint one or anything? As you can show me with an emoji or something. And I guess not. But I thought it was really cool. One because it was free to mint. I know that's kind of the flavor of the month, but I've always been critical on that. Like anybody should be able to get a chance to mint an NFT, right? Like these 2 ETH mints and like these 3 ETH mints. It was like I felt it was really shitty because unless you were in certain regions of the world, you had no chance of getting an NFT. You had to pull a whole bunch of ETH together to even get a chance and then lose out to gas. I saw so many people lose out on so much money on other side with that gas war. Everybody wanted a Moonbird, but if you weren't in the mix or in the alpha, you kind of you basically missed out. You watch other people get rich and you're just sitting there by the sidelines. And I thought that was pretty shitty. So I was like, let's draw a free one. And so when they told me it was free and they told me what they had their plans were, I was all for it. So I designed the contract. I made it as cheap as possible. I'm pretty proud. Yesterday, everybody was able to mint their three for like almost less than $9, and it minted out in like 7 minutes. So I was like, wow, that was super crazy. And I barely got my three. There was no team mint, no pre mint, nothing. It was like open for anybody. So I was pretty proud of that because I don't like the insider stuff. I practice what I preach, and there's a lot of cool stuff that will happen with it. I'm still talking to the team to see what they want to do. I have my ideas, but definitely check them out. If I'm able to pick some up over there, I'm trying to find the Billyjitsu one with the knife. Someone snagged it from me while I was talking about it, and they bought it. So I'm still waiting for more to reveal. But I thought it was a pretty fun project, and it goes like with the ethos of Web3, free and fucking just go for it. And it's like no roadmap, but there kind of sort of is. But I don't want to make any promises because I still have my other project I'm working on too. So there's a lot of work for me to do. There's always head down, just working. I haven't had a lot of time to like shit post, but I still find time to do it. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was really cool. And anybody that minted, I hope that was a good experience.
Oh yeah, man, I saw that, but much like Edu, I somehow missed this one. It looked like it went real quick.
Yeah.
Um, but I gotta say the home page up on screen next to your dark shadowy hacker avatar is pretty dope looking.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, it is too funny. Like when they showed me, like all they did was show me one picture, and I was like, I'm
Fuck,
in.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. So the concept really is like we're gonna have like a sticks versus mugs theory, and this is all coming out of the fly. I was like, all right, the sticks because they were working on the mugs project, and they're web 2 guys breaking into Web 3. So I'm like, you know what, like fuck it, let's do it. We'll go through the whole thing, show them the ropes, and they executed it really quick. We did it really fast. I optimized the shit out of that contract. Like even the error messages, the longer your error messages, the more gas it is. So I'm like literally, I'm like trying to be like Transmissions 11, trying to optimize the shit out of the gas and make sure everything that I could possibly do to lower the gas. Because on mainnet, I'm so spoiled with Gnosis. I'm like, if I could just let it go, it costs a thousandth of a penny. But when you're on mainnet, literally every word counts. So coming up with this project, and I keep seeing cool Twitter ideas like, hey, if you have two sticks, maybe they burn something together, like, oh shit, that's such a great idea. So like it's been really fun creating this contract, and like it's
Dude.
just a fun scope. Like there's no pressure because it's free. It's like it's free. What the fuck do you want? So it's been really fun, and like I'm like daydreaming, like thinking about new ideas of what that can be do. So it's really fun and energetic. I still have my NFB's Q project that I still have to execute on, but I'm nearly complete with that, and I still got to build the front end. But now I've been stuck on this whole legal stuff. Like, oh shit, what's going on over here? Do I have to like form an LLC for every fucking project I do now, or do I have to like LLC a
Oh
wallet?
God.
So it's there's so many things going on in the space, and like that's why I want to, like, just get everybody caught up to what it is today. We meet every 2 weeks, because weekly is just too much for me. I'm like dabbing and shit posting, and like, as crazy as like this Web3 thing, like, you work more hours but you enjoy it, but it's still more hours, like it's more
Totally, man.
passion. Yeah, it's more passion for me. Like, it's like going to work and you enjoy going to work, and it's super cool, and we're pushing to something cool. And like, I'm just trying to create contracts that give other people opportunity. We donate our time for this, like, open, One Hive TV open space, to have people have an open platform. Like, ultimately, the dream is to have like a public access for anybody to share educational content, and people can access that from anywhere. Because, like, I hear crazy stories. Like, we're so privileged. Like, when I talk to the guys like on Learn Web3 DAO, I mean, these guys are literally programming on cell phones. They're not even using laptops. So it's like, it gives me such a, like, I could step back and see, like, shit. We're in a good position, and like, there's people out here like fucking literally programming on a fucking cell phone. Like, instead of playing Snake, they're literally programming contracts. So it's like, holy shit. So like,
Word.
how do we get these guys involved? How can these guys take payments? And how can we equalize the world is kind of like the goal. And Gitcoin grants is one of those, and like, and that's kind of like the essence of what I'm trying to like push out and let people know. It's not just Twitter. We have Lens now. We have Gitcoin grants, and there's free NFTs, and let's keep that trend going. It's not all about flipping. It's let's build something cool for the people.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm
Yeah,
about to FOMO some of these stick figures, even though I didn't get to mint. Not gonna lie.
yeah, they're
Fuck it.
super cheap. They're still pretty
Some
cheap.
of them are
They're like
cool,
five
man.
bucks. They crack me up.
I'm gonna just use my avatar soon. I think,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. I'm trying to get a Billyjitsu one, but I can't even get it. Someone stole it from me, so I'm like, shit.
Oh God, I want
Yeah,
number 698.
yeah,
698. I'm gonna get it. But
yeah. That's hilarious.
right
But
on, man. Well, it's always
yeah,
a great time
yeah, definitely.
chatting with you, man. With all the
Yeah.
people here. Hopefully, all are doing well.
Yeah, definitely. Again, check out the One Hive TV stream, because like my show or my rants every 2 weeks, but everything Mondays is every Monday in the morning, or at least morning PST, 8 o'clock my time. And then Wednesdays, every Wednesday, they have NFT and gaming, and that's like really the alpha of all the new stuff. I mean, the GU Stakes guys just had that $50,000 tournament for Gods Unchained. So definitely, follow up on there. There's going to be more and more tournaments going on there. Like, literally play to earn. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you could play for free. Gods Unchained is free to play, and you have the opportunity to get like a piece of $50,000. So get the alpha. Follow One Hive TV. Check out the YouTube. Everybody's Twitter Spaces, but YouTube is all the visuals and like where you can see everything at. And then I'll catch you guys in 2 more weeks. Who knows what other drama is going to be out there? Every day is a fucking year in this fucking space. So I'll catch you guys soon. If there's any closing statements, T Wells, let me know.
No doubt, man. No, I'm all good. Y'all take care, and GM Billy.
All right, guys. Have a good night, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Cheers, everybody.